showtime. Hi, friends. Welcome. You guys like that? That was nice, huh? That was a nice way to start the podcast.
Very well done.
Welcome to the podcast. That is LochlinCross from 95.7 Cruise FM in Edmonton. James Difiore, blackballmedia.ca up in Killaloe, Ontario. He lives in the bush, people.
That's true.
He's going to do some impressions during the show today.
Are you? Yeah. Yeah. Give us your Asian cab driver impression. Please don't.
I don't have one.
If anybody asks you to do an impression of anybody on this, can you please just politely decline? That'd be great.
I will politely decline. I will only do white accents,
politely
therefore not get accused of cultural appropriation.
Yeah, that's a bad thing. We're going to talk about a little bit of cancel culture this weekend because Bill Burr was caught in the crossfire during his 6-second Grammy speech. 6 seconds. I don't know how you can fucking get canceled in 6 seconds. Bill Burr managed to do it, which was bullshit, but we'll get to that today. We get some Kielburger stuff to get to today as well. Kielburgers are on the hot seat with the ethics committee yesterday, the guys from We Charity, who I always had a fucking problem with. Like, even when everybody was celebrating them 10, 15 years ago, and you'd see them walk by the radio station on their way to another radio station because they wouldn't stop at ours. I'm like, fuck those guys, right? And every time I said fuck those guys, everybody around me was like, oh, those guys do a lot of really great work around them. I'm like, there's got to be some kind of fucking thing with the Kielburgers. Like, all these wee days, that they put on. Like, I wanted to know how much they paid for the Air Canada Center at the time. How much do you pay Demi Lovato? How much do you pay Jane Fonda? All these people that had come in. And they're like, nothing. They said nothing for years. We don't pay anybody anything. They paid fucking all kinds of people. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Anyway, they were involved in the ethics committee thing on Parliament Hill the other day, which was funny. We got some great video from that. Fucking hilarious. We'll also get to some sex toys. Thinking of going solo with some sex toys in my life. Just because there's a lack of contact. So I was doing some research. We'll talk about it. Talk about a guy that got caught jerking off.
Signed a rental agrelement.
I just saw an ad.
I wouldn't be renting any of those things.
I'm not sure where this is going, Dean.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you in a second. There's lots to get to today. I'm sure it's a full show. It's a very, very full show.
Please clean before returning. Yeah.
It's not the business to get into after the pandemic. Sex toy rentals. Sex toy rentals. I have a problem putting on people's bowling shoes. Do you think I'm going to rent a fucking sex toy?
No.
I don't think so. Hey, just put your thing in here. I'm good. I don't need that. Anyway, lots of other stuff to get to. Real quick, I don't know if you guys saw the Aaron O'Toole ad that was up today. Did you guys see this thing?
Oops.
What's wrong with Aaron O'Toole?
Are you talking about the one where he was all like spastic and talking about like with his hands like he was?
I gave that one a pass. He was the leader of the Conservative Party.
The one where he was promoting the Liberal Party.
Yeah, that one. One. This guy can't catch a break. Aaron O'Toole's leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, and he has been shit on since Front Street. Like, the second he got elected to be the president or the fucking head of the Conservative Party, the leader of the Conservative Party, it was game on. People come after him for everything. He can't do a fucking internet video talking about how he wants to, help Canadians achieve all of their dreams without everybody going, look, you got a bug hanging in your left nostril, you fucking loser. He can't do any of that stuff. And the second he does, people shit on all over him. And this morning it was, when you send a tweet, everybody's done it. You send a tweet and you're like, oh, fuck, I wish I could recall that. I just should delete it right now. I don't know if people saw that. Hope no one saw that tweet. Hope I deleted it in time. He did the exact same fucking thing. This is from the Conservative Party of Canada's Twitter feed this morning, which has since been deleted. And when I saw it, I'm like, someone's an intern. Look at this.
Someone's a plant.
This came out this morning from the Conservative Party of Canada. Justin Trudeau and the Liberals are more worried about saving Canadian jobs than their own.
Okay. Thanks for...
That's not a typo. That's like someone actually wrote that, included a couple of pictures in the actual graphics, and then put it out to a few 100,000 people. That's a professional body politic.
We saw that first thing this morning.
So the editor, whoever was in charge, forgot to put then are more worried about the election than, right? Those are the three missing words there.
Then Naked Cheese Whiz says, just remember that O'Toole was the best they could come up with. How devoid of leadership is the CPC? Yeah, it's everybody. It's liberals. It's everybody. You can comment, by the way, at DeanBlundell.com or Twitch or wherever you're finding us right now, and we'll be able to read it. It was weird. It was just a weird fucking thing that went up, and it was weird that it was there for like an hour and a half. Like nobody noticed it. Which
that was the bizarre part. We kept
it was up there for that long.
Yeah, because I had to read it like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, Grant saw it. My co-host on the morning show, he goes, I think they messed up here, and he read it out loud, and then I went and looked at it, and I'm like, what are they trying to? Isn't their job? No, okay, yeah, and then it just stuck.
Yeah,
idiot.
That's it.
The guy's an idiot.
Justin Trudeau and the Liberals are more worried about saving Canadian jobs than their own. You fucking just can't catch a break.
The Conservatives, they're kind of known for this. Do you remember how bad Peter MacKay's social media was when he was running for leader? No. Oh, it was so bad. It was like,
was it?
I don't even have a working example that I can think of off the top of my head. It was just like, stumbling, and his messages were like he's basically raising a fist in the air and everyone else is twiddling their thumbs when they read it. Like it was just really bad. And and I happen to know firsthand that they often put in volunteers for the position as important as social media, like the person that posts. So there's like a director that doesn't always do the posting, and then the underlings that will post. So like,
is that kind of important?
Yeah, it should be. Like if you're a director, you should be the person that, like, the bank manager doesn't give the vault duties to the first day teller, right? You don't just, well, you're not getting paid much. You might as well guard the money, I don't know. Then it'd be really easy to tamper with if you're a person who volunteers and you just happen to be like not a conservative and you're just there to like cause some shit, which is known to happen as well. So,
yeah, I can't, I'm beside myself, and it's not beside myself like, oh, I'm so upset the Conservative Party has turned into what they've turned into, and Aaron O'Toole's an asshole. He might very well be a nice person to talk to. I have no fucking idea, but it's almost like every single decision the Conservative Party has made in the last year, maybe 2 years, has been terrible. Every person they choose to run is terrible. Every decision they make about marketing is fucking terrible. Like these, I'm Aaron O'Toole, time to get back to work. Those fucking commercials, terrible. Look at me. And it's not him walking either. That's the other thing. It's him walking around going, here I am. Look at me. I'm assertive and I'm bald, and look at my head and I'm shaking it, and look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Time to get back to work. Like that's the entire premise of the commercial, because everybody's like, and then the best part, like they have this commercial running now. It's like, who is Aaron O'Toole? And in the commercial, they're like, no one really knows. But they've got like a Google search history of Aaron Brockovich. And I'm like, why the fuck would you do that? Why wouldn't you just talk about what you're supposed to be doing, right? Like, why would you just talk about, here, this is me. Here's what I'm talking about. Here's what I want to do for Canadians. And that's what we're going to do. But no, they keep putting up fucking ads for the other guys as we get closer to an election, because they entrust. It's just a fucking mess. And I love it. It's like a fucking sideshow every time I open up
it's Twitter. A good thing that the younger demographic, which they would need to secure an election, aren't really into social media.
That's true.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He dodged a bullet.
Yeah. You'll be good.
Thank God they're so fucking far behind.
Yeah. Every time I see anything like this, I just get madder and madder, because I know what it means. We're going to end up with another 4 years of wet noodle loser. JT. We're going to end up, he's going to win. And it's not based on anything he's done. It's going to be based purely on the fact that no one's going to be able to sit down and pick Archie Bunker. Like, it's just never going to be able to. I can't wrap my head around it right now. I'm not going to be able to vote. I'm going to have to be a dick. I'm going to have to vote for
Green.
I don't know, Green Party again.
Yeah.
Right. The thing is that, first of all,
James loves that.
O'Toole looks.
Every time someone says they're going to vote Green, this is James's face.
That's the face of Canada.
Go ahead. All those guys care about is composting. Go ahead. Go ahead. Going to vote for the compost party. Go ahead.
Aaron O'Toole looks like he should be managing a Home Depot, right? He looks like he's that guy, right? And that might be good for all the people that did home renos during COVID, but there's a lot of us that couldn't afford it. Look, the Conservatives had a chance to sort of, look towards the future with their leadership, and they chose they thought they were probably being rebellious choosing the white guy because they're all like really sarcastic about identity politics. So they're probably like, we'll show them. We won't run a woman or a person of color.
We're going to run
like,
straight towards the white guy.
That's the first explanation that makes sense to me. Because I was like,
Dr. Leslie Lewis should have won that leadership.
Yes. Anyway, when he came up through the middle, I was just like, this is just ridiculous. How did they make this decision? And that's the first time they were trying to be dicks.
No, listen. I've said this.
Hey, watch this. Watch this. That's
we're really throwing a wrench into the situation by nominating a white man.
You know all the racist stuff and the Me Too stuff. You know all that stuff, like us, like our racist party. They're like, yeah, watch this. We're gonna run another totally oblivious honky, and we'll see how it goes.
Let's see who's the whitest guy. Oh, that guy. Who's the whitest, oldest looking guy? By the way, he's 2 years younger than Trudeau as well.
Yeah.
Is he really? And he looks like he's about 10 years older.
He's all bloated and shit. Like, I don't know.
I know. Well,
and this is another.
Steal that, James. He looks like he runs a Home Depot. Thank you.
Yeah, he does. Can you picture
when I see him, I'm going to walk up to him and I'm going to ask him if he can point me to the lighting section.
Yeah, what you got to do is take a left over at the lumber down there, then you shoot across. Like he's that guy. Like he looks exactly like him.
I know what I'm going to
do. Also,
so don't accuse me of stealing it from you. I'm going to say he looks like a guy that runs a Canadian Tire. See what I did there?
Smart.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really smart.
Yeah.
You plagiarized, but you did it very, very cleverly. So that's good.
Sorry, James.
Okay. But anyways, I just wanted to say the last thing was that it's Aaron O'Toole is just another sort of body that fits where the intelligentsia of the conservatives feel that he can straddle both the nut bar and the moderate conservatives. They always do that. They always try
now they hate him. Like all the hardcore Proud Boy conservatives hate him. And the people, all the left-leaning conservatives hate him because he's like trying to figure it out in the middle, but who cares? I just love the fact that they can't even put out a tweet properly. Like it's just impossible. It's like I think that thing was like 70 characters and they couldn't fucking put it together.
And you know what? I bet you that outhouse thing, that porta potty thing, I almost feel like they leaked that now. Hey, we'll get those Proud Boys back, you know?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Speaking of leaking, yesterday I was in a grocery store. And I'm very mindful of my behavior when I go out. Very mindful of masking. Very mindful of hand sanitizer. I have tons of hand sanitizer. I got bottles in the car. I got bottles here. Take bottles in my coat. Used to wear gloves, but I've backed off the gloves because everybody thought I was crazy. So my son and I, who just walked past shirtless, all the ladies would have loved it. He's 21, so it's okay. My son and I go to this grocery store and we're getting pop and chips and, just stuff for the guys because the guys are here this week. So we're all hanging out. It's my favorite thing in the world. And I'm walking up the coffee aisle in this grocery store. And about 10 feet away from me, I see this old guy with a mask plaster himself up against the coffee. Like this. He's like this. Okay. And I look at him. I look at my kid. And he looks at me kind of at the side of you guys. And he does one of these. You're going the wrong way of the arrows. You're not obeying the arrows on the floor. And I went, what? And he's like, you're not obeying the arrows on the floor. I'm like, oh, fuck, whatever, dude.
You know what you should have said? That I thought this was the aisle for men.
No.
Because of the arrow? No?
And then he says to me, with an attitude like that, you're going to get someone, you're going to kill somebody. You're going to kill me with an attitude like that, he says. And I still really hadn't said anything. And I'm like, because part of me, like this new part of me wants to not get into confrontations when I don't have to, right? Like most of me says, Dean, keep walking. Just keep going. You're not going to teach that guy anything. You're not going to, you know what I mean? Just keep walking. But it didn't work. So I turned around. I'm like, listen, dude, you're going to be dead way before me, no matter where I'm walking in this fucking store. So me going against the grain of these arrows is your problem, not mine. Sorry. Right. And that was like kind of my first experience with someone who took the arrows in a grocery store really fucking seriously. Like really seriously. If I'm walking and because nobody's paying attention to it, right? You're looking for groceries. You're not going, oh my God, hang on. We got to turn around, go all the way back down the other aisle and go up this aisle, even though we're already in this fucking aisle to get some gummies or to get some fluff, or we can't go walk this way down the aisle to go and get a box of lemon pepper tempura fish. What we need to do is go all the way around the store where all these are good. And and it was like, I felt like one of those anti-maskers that wants to beat the shit out of someone for taking it too seriously. You know what I mean? Like that was my first.
Don't use the arrows anymore.
These guys
a
use
lot
the
of
arrows.
them, and a lot of them in Alberta are backing off on the arrow thing.
Yeah,
none of them up here in rural
Well, they're
Ontario.
fucking dude. There's arrows everywhere here, and if you don't follow the arrows, there are people who literally think it's life and death if you're going the wrong way in the grocery store.
That is the kind of shit that makes like far right wingers the craziest. Like that is the nanny state precautionary bullshit that they feel like they're dealing with. And you know what? Reasonable conservatives feel that way too. I don't even think you are a conservative and you feel that way. You know, it's a little too controlling. You must walk in the direction that we tell you to walk because we don't trust your social distancing practices.
People are going to make mistakes, right?
Is that it? Is that what people have been so pissed about? Like arrows? Or
no, they've been pissed because they don't feel like they have a choice. Like if they choose not to wear a mask, then their liberty is being attacked. But the arrow thing is like, it's a little condescending. We already get the social distancing thing. Now you're telling me what direction I can walk. And there's people that think the entire grocery store aisle belongs to them when they're in it. Have you ever met those people?
But you don't need arrows for people to be assholes about space in a grocery store. Like the ones that park.
But arrows really accentuate the assholeness, I think, right? Like
it just gives people an excuse to be an asshole, right? And I got that part of it. Like I like wearing my mask. I really do. I enjoy it. I wouldn't ever go into a place without one until such time that I'm vaccinated or I can. But it was eye-opening. Like part of me, of course, the guy's being a fucking tool, right? You know, but he's probably scared to death because he's in his 70s and he's got to wait out and go get some groceries. And he feels like, you know, all the precautions that people are taking with these arrows are part and parcel of why he's still alive, I guess. But
the problem I think we have right now is that there's this extreme view on all sides, right?
Sure.
There's that guy, and then there's the right and my civil liberties are being impacted, and there's just those encounters almost on a daily basis, and it's too bad because you probably you're not trying to kill the old prick. No. Right? By going down the wrong way. You're just trying to get your groceries done. And
I was just getting coffee creamer.
Yeah, you didn't realize you had gone the wrong way, and so now you feel like you need to have a confrontation with the guy, right? Like, it's just
well, you blame the arrow. Let's blame the arrows. Let's blame the policy.
Yeah, I would. I wished I could have in the moment. Now I sort of feel bad that I dressed him down a little bit and said you're going to be dead before me, which is technically true because the guy was like 80.
Yeah,
it is true.
You could
have invited him
still.
over. You should have invited him over.
I know,
to meet Dave.
Anyway, sorry, old dude. Sorry, I apologize. I didn't mean to ruin your day and remind you that the end is coming. I probably shouldn't have done that. But I'm comfortable.
Also, I would
with
like
that.
to let everybody know that was a callback from about 3 podcasts ago. Just so,
yeah, go back and listen to it. You're just trying to get people to listen.
That's a battle rap reference. Like that's how deep that goes.
You guys watched the Kielburger testimony, We Day Brothers, Craig and Mark Kielburger, these two do-gooders from Toronto that have grown up their entire life trying to make a difference for children around the world that have been undressed in the past couple of years due to their own bullshittery, may I add. Did you guys watch any of the proceedings? I watched all of it yesterday because I like that stuff. I watching people get caught in a lie, sweat their dicks off, might be my favorite fucking thing in the world to watch.
Are you talking about the Blundell thing?
Here's my question, because James is going to explain why they're in trouble, I think, right? Because
I'll give a little bit of a recap of
why there's 9 investigations into them and their organizations. 9.
Can I ask a question? And I hate that I'm this guy, but when I was first introduced to this group, it was from the perspective of you should bring these guys on the radio, you know, and da 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 da. And I always avoided it because I thought they looked like douchebags.
Like Stepford kids?
I can't say that I thought that they were doing anything wrong. I just had this feeling that I didn't want to have anything to do with it. Yeah. And you feel guilty because it's supposed to be a good cause. And I was like, what are they doing exactly? And so then I just, rather than have anything to do with it and help promote it, I just avoided it. And I can't to this day go, see, I knew I was right because I didn't know what I was right about. But there was just something off about
Smarmy
that to me. Yeah. Yes, slimy.
It's like as if Troy McClure wasn't a cartoon and had two bastard children. Something like that.
You know what? You're not far off. It's like McClure and Ned Flanders mixed their DNA, and they invented these two do-gooder kids that turned into real estate magnates, and everybody wants to know fucking why. So real quick, James, not real quick, take your time. Explain the Kielburgers briefly, We Charity, We Day, and how this has gone from them being world-beating ambassadors, members of the UN, up for Nobel Peace Prizes, to sitting in front of the ethics committee, getting asked where all the fucking money went.
Right. Well, okay, just this at the beginning, it was interesting because Craig Kielburger was sort of like the golden boy. He was on the cover of magazines. He was on the cover of Saturday Night Magazine, where they called him the most powerful kid in the world. And after the article came out, him and his family sued the magazine and won $319,000 in damages because they called him precocious. And because they said that they implied that his family was becoming enriched off of the charity, which at the time was called Free the Children. Mm-hmm. And then not too long later, Oprah, in a way, the Kielburger brothers are kind of like the first Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil, right? Because Oprah sort of put them both under her wing, and then they opened schools together in Africa and all that kind of stuff. So he always had this like PR machine behind him, and the brothers themselves had this brand appeal, and the best ad agencies working for them, and so they were kind of a success story. Mm-hmm. And then when you fast forward throughout the years, they had a really good relationship with all of the liberal parties, provincial, especially in BC and Ontario. The Stephen Harper government gave them $5.5 million, I think, for 2 years before Trudeau was elected. So, they certainly didn't shy away from many different political parties, but they leaned heavily towards the Liberals. And so when you then fast forward to, I guess it was early last year, when it was found out that Justin Trudeau and his mother and his brother were all paid hundreds of thousands of dollars.
$423,000 in total, according to the Kielburgers. According to the Conservatives and the Liberals in the ethics committee, it was closer to $500,000.
Yeah, I think that's the figures I remember as well. So they and come on, if you're in grade 8, you could probably find, you'll find a few kids that understand that it's a conflict of interest to be the prime minister and to sole source the contract to a company that has paid you and your family hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like that is really basic stuff. Like you don't, and so they sole sourced it. They originally wanted it to be almost $1 billion, the government, and then it was 523 million.
Now the $523 million was supposed to go to a kids work program.
No, okay.
No, kids work program. The government was trying to have instituted that they could have had, candidate employment due. They had several other, para governmental organizations that had the ability to institute this program for the same, if not less money. But the money went directly to the Kielburgers and was voted on by Trudeau, who received $500,000, and Morneau, who's since been fired or released because of it, because they didn't actually put that out to tender to anybody. They just gave it to the fucking Kielburgers based on relationship alone.
Yeah, and I think they also paid for Bill Morneau's trip once, and I think didn't he have a daughter that worked that also got paid? Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
So there was all
there's all to clear that money. Like,
yes,
isn't there hoops you're supposed to jump? Okay.
Yes, there are.
Well,
However, because of the pandemic, they made it an emergency payment, right? Like because they put the pandemic rules in place, and they're like, "Listen, we can just give this money to these guys, can't we?"
Give it to the Kegel brothers. They know what to do with it.
That's so funny.
I've been waiting 10 minutes to get that in.
The Kegel brothers. I'm not calling them anything else now. They're just the fucking Kegel brothers to me. Anyway, continue. The Kegel brothers.
Right. So the previous contract that never happened was just another contract that had to do with the Canadian grant system. And they are accused of they would have profited $50 million or something. So what's interesting is that the next contract, it's actually $543 million. That $500 million was supposed to go to the students and to all of the overhead and to the charity and everything like that. And then $43 million for quote unquote expenses. And so the idea is that I've seen lawyers tell me that it's only $7 million off of what they would have been paid. And I'm like, well, what do you mean that's going to be expenses? He's like, the $500 million will swallow any expense that you need in order to profit that much anyways. But then what they did, it's probably going to be the actual rules that are in place or the lack of rules in place that's going to get them off, because they were then allowed, after the investigation started because of the conflicts of interest, they were then allowed to retroactively put down staffers as registered lobbyists 18 months prior to when they actually put that in motion, so that all of the conversations that they and their underlings had with government officials all of a sudden become legitimized, which is just another one of those crazy rules. That's like one of those Senator Mike Duffy kind of rules where he actually followed all the rules. It just seems corrupt because holy fuck, look at those rules, right?
Yeah.
Fucking and now here we are now. I just want to say one thing: the Pierre Poilievre exchange with
I have it.
You want to?
Yeah, you want it?
Here, let me set it up first. So the interesting thing about this is that they're talking past each other, I think. And I'll tell you why. Let's watch it actually first, and I'll tell you why when we come back. Because
Pierre Pepperpot, you want Pierre Pepperpot? Is that what
you
want?
the Instagram or the LinkedIn thing.
Yeah. So this is it's a neat one. I'll if you don't mind, I'll kind of help you set this up. This is when Pierre Poilievre, Mr. Pepperpot, I call him, because I'm pretty sure that's like pepper in French, right? Pretty sure.
Maybe. I don't know.
Pretty sure. Close.
I'm in Alberta.
I took 10 years of French in Canadian school, so I'm not fluent.
I'm from Alberta. Pepper.
I'm pretty sure I was smoking weed outside during French class.
This is
so I missed that day.
The exchange. James is talking about it, and this was kind of the biggest takeaway from the whole thing. It was fairly boring if you watched it, but this is the biggest takeaway from the Kielburger thing. It's when Pierre Poilievre, who's a conservative, is like, okay, so did you talk to this guy Ben Chin ever, who's Prime Minister Trudeau's assistant, about getting this sole source program? And they're like, nah, fuck, I don't know what you're talking about. And watching him catch them in this lie is kind of legalistic brilliance, if you ask me. I think it's fucking terrific. Here's the clip.
What was the name of the assistant that you claim?
Oh, I like this guy.
Wrote your email through LinkedIn to Mr. Ben Chen.
Mr. Poilievre, I've gotten death threats. Our staff have gotten death threats. The speaking bureau has gotten death threats. I am not naming another employee, especially a former executive assistant, to you, sir.
So we will be asking for it to be handed over to the committee, and we can keep that information from the public. But I want to find out if this person actually exists. Do you commit to giving that person's name to the committee?
With the permission of that person and the conversations that will unfold, we'll get back to you.
He's the runner.
That's a private matter.
The other one's the sausage eater.
He's like, this is someone you claim is writing correspondence to the Prime Minister's office on your behalf. We want to confirm that this person actually exists, because the correspondence that has your name on it contradicts the testimony that you've given directly, and you will need to provide it to contradict, to prove that you in fact actually are telling the truth here, because it's very hard to believe.
Yeah. Did you guys hear that? You heard it all? You got the whole thing?
I did.
That was so. Just so you know, kind of, I'll let you into kind of, if you didn't watch it yesterday. That question told me a lot, not just about the goings on, but it told me a lot about how fucking crooked Craig Kielburger was in trying to answer that fucking question. And I know he's going to put himself in legal jeopardy if he answered it honestly, right? But that's the problem. The problem is that if you're not guilty, don't fucking act like it, right? The problem is if you didn't do all these things, if these 9 investigations are not legit, and if you painted them like they were all like they were, it was some kind of political witch hunt, then that's not how you fucking act. You tell the truth. Someone says, "Can I get that name?" You can get the name. The name he was looking for, and this is fucking classic. I love this whole story. Is Pierre was saying, you didn't talk to the prime minister's assistant, this guy Ben Chin, ever, right? Kielburgers go, no, fuck, we don't know what you're talking about. He goes, well, this is weird because there's a LinkedIn message from you, Craig Kielburger, to this Ben Chin guy saying, thank you for your help with this program. We really appreciate it. Have a great day. And when he was asked about it, Craig Kielburger goes, oh, I was just sending a LinkedIn request to link up. That was it.
So here on that,
you're like, fucking, I'm on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, by the way, is the worst. But
that's not as crazy as you think. And I'll tell you
it didn't make any fucking sense whatsoever because
but it did.
Ben Chin replied back. He's like, no problem. Happy to help. Anything else we can do for you, let us know. And they're like, that's not a LinkedIn request. And he goes, yes, it is. Like the entire time, this Craig Kielburger guy is trying to tell the whole world that what we're hearing and seeing isn't what we're hearing and seeing. And it's fascinating story.
But when you add someone on LinkedIn, you can click, and I'm not a LinkedIn guy. I go there like twice a year. I don't even really know why I have it.
It sucks. It's like a meat market for old executives.
But if you do add somebody or you try to connect with somebody, whatever it's called, a window pops up and you do have the option of manipulating that window by putting in a message and even changing the subject, I think. If not changing the subject, definitely putting a message. So it could be like, you've been invited to connect by James Difiore, Lochlin. And in the invite itself, it will say, hey, thanks for shaping the DeanBlundell paper edit. Really, and you can, so they look like they were almost talking past each other. Like Puer Polivera was like, there's no way anything could impact a request to connect. Like you can't send a message. They're totally separate things. And I'm just like, no, they're actually hybrids now. Like you can add a message to a request for connection or whatever it's called on LinkedIn. So,
but he's still, Mike Kielburger is still saying, thanks for your help with this thing. That's another thing. He had previously said that he didn't get any help with from that guy.
That's another thing. These Kielburger guys are like the biggest schmoozers ever, right? Like that's what they do. So even if that guy didn't do anything, they might even still send a message like that so that they can massage the rapport and the relationship that they have with that person.
Hedge their bets.
Yeah. So I'm not even saying they're still kind of slimy for doing it like that, but I don't, this whole thing, like where they're not talking about the same thing isn't necessarily true. So I don't know. I haven't actually seen the messages, but it would be.
Why do you think they're going to get off, James? These Kegel brothers.
Well, because I think the one thing that
every time you say it, I clench my ass cheeks.
I do the same thing. I just shifted, even though we don't have vaginas. Apparently,
guys can do Kegels. It's good for your prostate.
Really?
You just You kind of you do one of those like you're doing a mini crunch, and then you squeeze your asshole tight at the same time.
All right,
you didn't know guys could do Kegels.
Give me this footage later. That's all I need.
Okay.
So that's how I get juice out of a lemon.
I think they're going to get off because the things that they did that seemed the most egregious was the illegal lobbying, and now that's been taken care of. I don't know what else they did on their side. They didn't sole source it to themselves. That's the government, right? They didn't.
I think there's a few other things in here too that they're in trouble for, like quadruple billing people for a dead person's plaque on one hut. There should be like 100 huts because they took that much fucking money in, and. Right. And that's a problem. Like it would be like you saying, hey, Dean, I've got this great project in Kenya. It's a schoolhouse. If you give me 10 grand or help me raise 10 grand, I'll put the name of one of your dead relatives on the wall. And you're like, that sounds great because I'd love to remember this dead relative. It'd be a really nice thing to do for some kids in a different country. Well, they did that with the same schoolhouse, apparently, and this is what they're researching. They did that with the same schoolhouse to like dozens of people. So this one house represented dozens of different donors, and they misrepresented it like this is your house. And then when you would go to the house, they'd put up your wall, your plaque on the wall. And when you'd leave, the next donor would come in to see this schoolhouse they built, and it would have their name. This schoolhouse was built for this person by these people. And
they're just douchebags. They're douchebags.
Exactly.
It's awful.
That's not the kind of thing that you're going to see a big trial of the century or something for, though. Like those are pretty nickel and dime stuff in the corporate world. Like
it's charity shit. It's sleazy all the fucking time. Yeah,
and it's sleazy as hell. But it's also not really germane to the whole liberal government situation that we have in front of us, right? So as far as that situation goes, I don't know what they've done what they could have done differently that isn't just really a problem within the organization anyway, with or without the Liberals. So
Stone 1A on Twitch says, I'm not shocked. Con artists come in many forms. Rob Yates says at least Pepper Potts has the go-between to press something. And some guy, that nerd dad says we need to start our OnlyFans account. So we can talk about this stuff.
OnlyFans, where you just have conversations with Dave.
While using that virtual massager.
Speaking of these two, this was their opening statement. I wanted to play this for you, Locke, because you're a seasoned veteran of people, right? Like when you see someone talking or making a statement, I can ascertain within 10 minutes whether that person is full of shit.
10 minutes?
I'm 10 seconds.
Yeah, easily. Boom. I want you to watch part of the opening statement of Mark Kegel.
It's gonna stick.
Do you have a little bell? Ring the bell when you feel
ding,
like
ding,
he's
ding.
Yeah.
Of Mark Kegel.
Mark
Kegel in front of the ethics committee. These people have the
their
power
real
to.
names.
These people Kielburger have the power to make their lives fucking miserable. Listen to the way he starts the whole thing. It's
the stated mandate of this committee is to investigate pandemic spending. Here's a simple fact. Given a chance to do good for 100,000 students and other charities during the pandemic, we charity agreed to help. That's what charities do. They help where that is needed. We didn't advise the Prime Minister and Mr. Bono not to recuse themselves. We never prorogued Parliament. We're not involved in the decision to filibuster the committee this fall. This is a political scandal for the government, not We Charity. The government hid behind a children's charity by letting it take the fall for their political decisions. And the opposition allowed them. Not a single member of Parliament has spoken up for the millions of Canadian children around the world who benefited from this organization. And as MPs, of course, you have the power to summon who you please. So let me ask you, after a year of political games, what's been the result? What have you accomplished?
Hey, boys, isn't that nice?
Well, listen, did you see the lawyer? Did you see the lawyer knock on the table?
Yeah.
Go back and listen, because Kielburger was just throwing the political party that probably had their back more than any other political party, threw them right under the bus, and his lawyer looked at him and went, and his next sentence was that the opposition let them do it. Read it, watch it again. The lawyer signals him.
The stated mandate of this committee is to investigate pandemic spending. Here's a simple fact. Given a chance to do good for 100,000 students and other charities during the pandemic, we charity agreed to help. That's what charities do. They help where that is needed. We didn't advise the Prime Minister and Mr. Bono not to recuse themselves. We never prorogued Parliament. We're not involved in the decision to filibuster the committee this fall. This is a political scandal for the government, not We Charity. The government hid behind a children's charity by letting it take the fall for their political decisions. And the opposition allowed.
Oh,
They hid behind a children's charity. Knock, knock. Get the fuck on with it, kid. You know, like telling you.
You could read his mind too. We should have let the skinny one talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, by the way, that guy is so smart.
Talking.
That guy is so smarmy and unbelievable when he speaks that he could be prime minister one day.
Fucking guy's a Rhodes Scholar. Do you know Mark Kielburger's a Rhodes Scholar? He went to fucking Harvard. If you're that smart, you should be able to hide all this shit that people are saying they've done, right? Like if you're
How
that
did they
smart,
get caught?
they got caught with a single source contract, and everybody started wondering, and it was hilarious because what came from that was, We Day paid people, right?
It was
We
actually
Day
Jesse
paid-
Brown that broke it, I think.
Yeah, Canada Land. He did a great job. He was like a dog on a bone. They paid people. And then one of the great things to come out of that was this tweet from Theo Fleury, who has lost his mind, by the way. Yeah. This tweet from Theo Fleury is like, We Day people get paid? I asked for 10 years in a row and they said there was no money. Meanwhile, those guys are shoving hundreds of thousands of dollars in other people's pockets, but they let poor Theo Fleury book his own ticket to come to his own We Days, pay for his own fucking hotel and all that other stuff. And there were tons of stories like that, right? It wasn't just, this misanthropic adventure from, the Kielburgers to the Trudeaus. It was like they handpicked certain people that they knew would be able to help them.
They couldn't get
achieve the financial goals that they needed to achieve. Because the other part of this is WeOrg is not just a charity. They have a for-profit division as well. Now that for-profit division, and I was doing some research yesterday, they have something like $61 or $63 million in real estate as well. This charity, real estate in Toronto. Mm-hmm. What the fuck does a charity that's supposed to free the kids need with $60 million in primetime downtown Toronto real estate?
Well, they have all these for-profit companies that use the nonprofit brand, right? So they have this company that's called, the Me to We social enterprise.
That's like me meaning me. I'm taking the money from we. To we.
Someone needs to look at the
you about altruism and to be selfless, right? So they got paid for training and chaperoning students overseas and merchandising like t-shirts and things like that. But it's all done under the brand that is this worldwide international brand for a nonprofit group. So they've been able to blur the lines. And I had no
idea it was this deep. Honestly,
dude, it's so deep.
That's insane.
It's the deepest.
Yeah,
it's deep and it's greasy.
But it's also another example of maybe they were following the worst rules ever. Because if you're allowed to just fuse onto your nonprofit for-profit companies that can use the same branding like that, then you're following these rules and you're getting away with it, then maybe they'll get them on tax evasion or something like that. But the rules are pretty, like, why are you allowed to attach any brand that makes a profit to a nonprofit group unless it's an outside sponsor or something that
claims to be feeding children?
Right.
I'm rethinking this whole idea about our merch page for the locker room. We were honest and told people we're using the money to drink. Maybe I got to come up with a fake charity.
Dude, so many people do that. It is incredible how many people attach a charity angle, well-meaning charity angle, to their business plan, for their business plan, not because they want to be altruistic and do something great. And I think that's where the Kegel brothers really fucked up. I think what happened is over time, they were exposed to some pretty wealthy people who taught them some pretty dank accounting practices. And they thought, well, we're doing all this work. We're taking in this money. We also have this for-profit entity over here that we're using to blur the lines with we. So why don't we just pick up a couple of buildings downtown Toronto because we got $20 million in extra money?
Yeah,
that's as greasy as it gets.
It becomes hard to distinguish what pile of money they used, right, for the real estate. Like, did they use the for-profit companies, James, or the not-for-profit? I'm just saying. Well, they know, of course they know. But again, the rules are designed to make it easy for people, right, to do this kind of shit. So
yeah, but don't you want to know? Like, that's the thing, right? Like watching those guys sweat their little tiny dicks off yesterday, and then turn it into this like thing where they're like, my kids can't even play outside anymore. I can't believe it. I can't believe all you people hate us. We did so many good things. We helped so many kids. Okay, you did. Sure.
I have not seen the western point of my villa.
What the fuck have you been doing for the past 10 years with all this money? Why don't you just listen? If that's a problem, the best way out of that problem, if you're the Kegels, is to tell the truth, right? It's to say, hey, listen, yeah, we did this stuff. It was allowed. We were operating a business. We didn't mean to blur the lines. We did, and we apologize, and we'll take it in the fucking mouth. If their intentions were their intentions, then their intentions should be mastered in this conversation. They should be able to have a fucking conversation about it.
They committed suicide yesterday. They threw every single political party under the bus. So now every soundbite from every party is probably going to be anti-we. And they are
no one's going to work with them anymore.
People are not going to want to work with them.
And look,
and the curtains lifted off. They're so douchey. They are so bad at what they do. I'm surprised that we have to have a long talk with a lot of people in our society that buy shit from people like that. The people that you can tell from a mile away are con men or just full of bullshit. Even that article when that kid was 13, when Craig was 13, said that he speaks in sound bites only. You know, like he's this well-trained corporate entity at the age of 13.
I watched the press conference yesterday, and those guys not only gave up too much information, it was rambling. It was just rambling bullshit. But they also tried to strike a tone with people who were like a guy like Angus Reid. Is it Angus Reid? Am I getting his name wrong?
Charlie Angus.
Charlie Angus. Angus Reid is a company, isn't it? They do.
I think they're a Polish company.
Yeah, they Angus. I'm getting Angus.
Okay.
Black Angus? Was it Black
I've been
Angus?
calling them Kegel brothers. You're allowed to make that mistake.
Where he was trying to bone him for something, and it's all, I mean, you know, watching those two guys try to parse questions with words. Case in point, someone said to them, "Hey, listen, are you under investigation by the RC contacted you or CRA?" And they're like, "We are not under investigation. My brother and I are not under investigation by the RCMP." And they had to ask the question 4 different times before they admitted, yeah, something's going on, but we can't talk about it. Right?
Yeah, but
to me was, go ahead.
But the photos of the third world children made it all okay.
That's what sold
I've
it.
never seen. Oh my God! Hold on.
Give
me 5 seconds because I just want to say that I have never seen something so disgusting and cheap and obvious in all of my life than to put posters.
All the black kids behind them. You mean
starving black and brown children behind you, and then going like this. See, look at what we're all about. Like, come on, man. Like that was. I don't know how their lawyer let them go on like that. Like, there's going to be a dozen people that are going to be fired because of that thing yesterday. That was awful.
I don't know. I think they liked it. I tried to frame it a different way, and I'll get the picture for you here so we can see it. This is This is what we had to look at the entire fucking the entire podcast, or sorry, not podcast. This is what we had to look at the entire session. Was these two hood rats who had, look at this. Can you see that?
Yeah. Again, I try not to judge people. I think it's
you judge.
They got 3 black kids, then they got another black kid, and then they got a Hispanic kid, and they're looking over his shoulder. This is a screen grab from James's tweet, let me read you the tweet. It's fucking brilliant. Kielburger brothers are so savvy they made sure to put up black and brown children as props during their testimony. And so the karma gods sprang into action and made sure we saw all the same thing. Black and brown children mocking and laughing the Kielburger brothers.
It's true. Look at them.
That's what it looks like, too, doesn't it?
Look at them white boys squirming in their seats. Wait, I shouldn't do that. Sorry.
Anyway, I don't know what's next. I don't know if they got to the bottom of anything, but the downfall has been.
I hope they get some
enjoyable
kind of trouble.
Well, they are done, right? Like, there's no We Foundation anymore.
Well, who's going to fucking work with them anymore? Like, if you said
just change the name and do something else.
Well, they can't represent the charity, and that's going to kill Craig Kielburger. That poor the skinny Kielburger.
Mel Gibson's still directing. I don't know.
That's true.
You know.
Speaking of trouble, Bill Burr. Did you guys watch the Grammys? I didn't.
I just watched that one thing.
So I heard
one clip of Bill Burr.
I did, and the whole stripper pump performance.
Oh, Wet Ass Pussy, the WAP thing with Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B, which was.
I'm just glad that the Dr. Seuss books have been taken off the shelf so we can have more Wet Ass Pussy for the children.
Yeah, that's true. Right in the prime time too. Yeah.
I heard though that as far as award shows go and how they set it up, because I don't care about the Grammys, but a couple of people told me that it was decent, because I've been avoiding all these award shows because of the Zoom singing and all that. I'm like, I don't want to see a guy in his living room. Yeah, it's awful, right? Like from a performance perspective, it's a little bit just disheartening. But I guess they had it set up and they had a studio and it looked pretty decent, and they kind of did a pretty good job of presenting the Grammys in this sort of limited world that we're in right now. So
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. What I did watch, because I saw Bill Burr trending as soon as the Grammys started, and he was one of the first Grammy. Fuck, is he funny? Comedian Bill Burr. Have you seen Paper Tiger? You watch Paper Tiger?
I've seen him live twice.
Oh, fuck, is he brilliant?
Paper Tiger was his last one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I did see it. Was he wearing like a white shirt?
Blue.
Bluish, lighter colored?
Light blue.
London, I think.
Yeah, it was actually, because he was like, holy fuck, you British people are just as fat as Americans.
You know what I love about Bill Burr is this is what I think his brilliance is. He always gets to a point with his audience where they don't know how to react.
Yeah.
And that's
Look
where
how
he's
quiet it is in here.
And he feeds off that. Yeah. I love that because he'll say something just awful and nobody knows how to respond in the audience. And then you can just see a light go off in his head. He's, I got him. I got him.
I said something that grabbed everybody. Yeah. He did it at the Grammys.
He loves
this
it.
Is it.
Yeah.
He was giving out the award for the best Latino tropical album. This is 6 seconds. I know, eh? Hey, give it to Bill Burr. See what happens.
What happened there?
Well, I'll show you. Have a listen. This is great stuff. Bill Burr, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Hey, how many feminists are like going nuts? So why is this cis white male doing all this Latino stuff?
That's it. Why is this white male doing all this Latino stuff? From that, it was Bill Burr trended #1 in North America. From that fucking clip. What is this white guy handing out these Latino awards for?
He's got a point, doesn't he?
Not really.
Actually, his jokes are designed to get that reaction now. So I was searching Bill Burr's stuff when that came out, and I saw an interview with Bill Maher from like 2015 or something like that. And so it was like 6 years ago, and they were talking about the exact same thing. Bill Maher opened with, "So I heard you had a little bit of trouble over the weekend with an off-color, politically incorrect joke," and Bill Burr was like, "So what? It was like 20 people on Twitter created a big crisis, and now here we are, right?" And that was it. Like 6 years later, he's just doing the exact same thing. He's giving them the red meat so that they can show everybody how stupid they are, and then 3/4 of the people that make him trend are laughing at that piece of the population that's all aghast and fainting.
The front end of that clip is what made me laugh the hardest. Was if he asked if everybody else, am I the only one that wanted to kill myself during that piano
solo?
I enjoy him. I loved him in The Mandalorian too, because he was
just Saturday Night Live performance was all controversial,
phenomenal
too.
He was his front end on that Saturday Night Live thing was a little was quite controversial. I think he has found a way. Has he been canceled?
No, because he can't.
Because he you know what he says after he says stuff like that? Nothing. And then when someone tells him about it, he's like, I wasn't fucking paying attention. Like, that's the way you have to be now. You can't, like, if you don't want to respond to the cancellation, and we've seen it, right? We've seen, and it's not cancellation. I wrote a piece about it this weekend, and because I'm convinced people that listen to innocuous shit like that or someone else's comedy willingly, that start a letter writing campaign and get emotionally triggered by stuff like that, are just mentally ill assholes with no fucking friends.
Yeah.
I'm convinced there are examples. Use critical thinking, of course, right? There are examples that are really bad, like Kramer from Seinfeld when he was dropping N-bombs on the stage. Yeah. I was good with canceling him because that's fucking atrocious. But when a guy's doing his job and the only thing he's guilty of is telling jokes that work, people can go fuck themselves and literally look in the mirror and go, why am I so angry about everything? Why don't I want anybody to be happy about anything? Because you're a loser who has no fucking friends. That's why. That's the only way I can actually fucking physically bring my head to understand what cancel culture is. It's just a bunch of mentally ill people with Twitter handles. That's it.
But you also have to abide by, if you want to get canceled or don't want to get canceled, but if you get canceled, then there's a part of you that abides by the rules of cancel culture. But people like Bill Burr and Ricky Gervais and Joe Rogan, and maybe to a lesser extent, but still there, like Bill Maher,
Chappelle.
They don't subscribe. Chappelle for sure. They don't
Blundell.
Subscribe to cancel culture in the sense that they don't agree with the ground rules in that particular Thunderdome. So if someone goes, "Oh, Chappelle's canceled," Chappelle's like, "No, I ain't," and then he's not, because he didn't go through his PR team to issue some bullshit apology, or he didn't do something as bad as what Kramer did. But he's not going to apologize. And if you don't apologize, you just laugh at it. Then it always goes away. It always goes away.
Yeah, I'm even turning around with Louis C.K. on that one with the whole
Oh,
beating
Louis
off thing
C.K.
because
didn't touch anyone.
because the more you read about that through the cancellation, right? The more you read about Louis C.K., what you realize is, sure, he jerked off unceremoniously in front of some people, but almost all of those, he never touched anybody.
And he asked for consent every time, except for the girl on the phone.
The girl on the phone she was the one that complained. But listen, should you be jerking off in front of people? Generally speaking, it's a terrible idea.
I'm glad we brought that up.
What if you really enjoy
Let's
it?
get that out in the front, just so that we're all on the same page.
Well, I'm not on that page because if you really enjoy something, you should just do it.
Like this guy. This guy got caught. I know it's going to be hard to believe, gentlemen. This fella got caught jerking off in front of his house at 4 p.m.
It is kind of hard to believe. He's not that crazy looking. He looks normal.
Maybe
his name is
somebody
Eric.
in the house asked him to go outside.
Bud, can you do that outside? Yeah, sure. Hey, buddy, can you not jerk off in the kitchen? Take that outside. Yeah, sure. You're arrested. But they told me to take this outside. His name is Eric DeTige. He's 47, same age as us. He's lying on his back in front of a townhouse in Tampa Bay. Police arrived and they said, quote,
Florida?
let me read this to you. Police arrived. They said, quote, unencumbered by his pants or underwear, he had his penis in one hand and a large uneaten pickle in his other hand. DeTige, the cop added, was, quote, using the pickle to penetrate his rectum while he was masturbating. He was arrested on misdemeanor charges, and he has to apparently sign up for the old sex offender door knock thing where you got to go door to door, which would be embarrassing, right? Hi, how are you? I'm your new neighbor. Yeah, I got a bit of a sexual predilection with pickles, so heads up.
That'd be a good nickname, though. Hey, Pickles.
Yeah.
Can you believe this guy? It's fucking.
If this story is not about, and I'm not being funny, if this story is not about drugs at the end of the day, then that is the craziest person you've ever seen. Because
not only is it not about drugs, because they drug tested him.
Really?
He didn't have any drugs
I have
or
less
alcohol.
respect for him now that I know he didn't do drugs.
No drugs or alcohol in his system at all.
Oh my God.
What?
Then I don't have any explanation. That guy needs to be locked up for the rest of his life.
Probably.
Put a pickle in your ass in public, unless you're on drugs. If you're on drugs, then I can go like this. Wow, that's fucking crazy. But at least you were really fucked up on drugs. And
yeah. No, this guy wasn't. Look how fucking stoked he was too. He's like, yeah, I just got busted for shoving a pickle in my ass.
I'm gonna monetize this on the internet, bitch.
Viral fame, baby. Then it started me thinking about nothing really. Then it started thinking me because I've been thinking about. I read that story, and then there was this other story that I read, and I put the two together in my head. I'm like, virtual sex seems to be the way of the future.
I bet you Bix is just sitting there going, please don't tell them what brand it was. Please. Please.
I think it was Molasses.
Do you remember,
the
tagline for Mrs. White Pickles? That cloudy brine means fresh deli taste.
When I'm beating off with a pickle in the other hand,
it's a molasses.
I like Bix.
I thought the jar said Biggs.
Crunchy dill, extra warts on each pickle, ribbed for your flavor.
The district attorney was seeking more charges because the pickles he used were baby dills. On to you, Bob.
But I was thinking about virtual sex because if this guy had a few $100, actually only $199, he could afford himself this new thing here called the Titan VR sexual experience. Are you guys seeing this?
I've read about
this is I read about this the other day, and I'm like, this doesn't sound.
Why does it have a
creepy? It doesn't sound as creepy as
jerking off with a jar of pickles.
I would have thought this. It's called a Kairu VR Titan.
It looks like a what?
It looks like if I were to look this in a catalog, it would look at there's the e-juice, there's the vaporizer, and the fanny pack that it comes in. You know?
Yeah. But this thing is $199. What's inside? Good. What do you get for $199? The Titan by Kiru Feel Porn Stars version. This is the porn star version. This is pro. You get the VR goggles, which act as a splash guard if you're jerking off on your back.
Why would you want a splash guard?
So you don't get any in your eyes. Yeah. The Aqua Premium water-based intimate lubricant, and then it also comes with a Pure Premium toy cleaner, so you can help clean yourself. But here's the thing: this is for your pecker lock.
Okay, thank you for helping me out with that.
Here are some of the features: grip to avoid your hand slipping. It's got these cool little ridges.
All right.
To avoid your hand slipping. Touch-sensitive pads. I don't know. I guess that's on the outside. The real feel sleeve, soft as the inner canals of your favorite orifice. That might be the greatest sales line in the history of sex toys.
I was just going to applaud the copyright.
Soft as the inner canals of your favorite orifice.
What do you mean a canal? It's not that wide.
Vibrating motors, 3 rows of bullets that vibrate to your desire. This thing retails for $199, and I'm not even ashamed to say I might give her a go.
All right.
Well, for $199, I'd hope you give her more than one go. Jesus.
Well, it seems like that would be the safest.
I'm not ready for this.
Well, because you're married.
Well, it's not even that. I mean, I just don't know if I need that much gear, right? Like
for when you jerk off.
I know there's people that don't even use lube, you know, they just use their.
It's kind of the reason why I quit skiing, to be honest with you. There's too much fucking gear. I'm like, oh, skiing, boots, helmet.
It's about the same size
gloves.
as a heroin kit, though. I just want to point that out.
Yeah.
You look at the massager. It's got about the same amount of weight as a heroin kit, you know.
But I get it. There's a lot of gear, and if you're an efficient masturbator to begin with, then there might not be any need for it.
The marriage thing is actually a worthwhile thing to bring up. Just, I mean, if you are whacking off in the house with the wife around, you don't have time to set up the TV and the VR and pull the tube out and lube it and right. And then if she walks in on
use a setting.
It's not like 45 minutes.
Setting would be like comfortable, loving, and then violent penal masturbation.
What are you doing, honey? Nothing. It's really hard to. You got that thing strapped onto your dick. Like it's just. There's just a lot going on, right?
There seems to be.
What I'm worried about is that the next generation and then the next generation after that. Remember the difference between iPhone 1 and like 12 or whatever it's at now.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have like the ability. You're gonna create these custom situations where you get your like favorite porn star, or you're gonna give a picture to the AI and it's gonna create a body around a picture of someone you know and all this kind of stuff. And then people are gonna hack that shit, and you're gonna see celebrities with their like sex menu released publicly, unless you know, and people are going to be blackmailed with this kind of shit. Like I don't think this is going to a good place. It's probably for sure going to kill actual sex. It's probably
we're talking about this stuff on a fairly regular basis on our show, and they are already hacking into these things. Like there's dolls and stuff. There's already warnings about some of this stuff. Yeah, you're right, James. These dolls are going to kill you. Mm-hmm. Eventually, it's going to get to that point.
Well, what a way to go! You can.
Yeah, there's tons of stories. Like I was reading about this LoveSense Max masturbation sleeve that some guy in Hong Kong.
You've really been spending a lot of time looking into this, Dean.
Yeah. He had the Jive and the Max. He was going with the Jive. He's going with the Jive. I don't know what that is. But someone hacked into the Bluetooth setting and locked his dick inside the actual Jive. Like he locked it in. And then they sent him an email and they're like, hey, buddy. Hey. And he's like, what? Ow.
Have you got Bitcoin?
He's like, hey, listen, you got Bitcoin? If you do, transfer it into this account or we're never letting your dick go. That actually happens. That's the problem. That's what you're talking about, right, James?
Well, yeah. I mean, there was also that guy that's tried to sue that other company, Skin something, you know, the popular Fleshlight.
Fleshlight, yeah.
Because he masturbated too vigorously and he was like bleeding and he blamed the Fleshlight. And so he sued them.
That might not be the.
Oh, no. Hold on. His case was based on that Fleshlight made him so addicted to its product that it damaged his penis. Like he actually broke his penis.
So somebody told me that guys wash these things in the dishwasher too. That's the thing that I don't want to have something around the house that I need to clean
empty
because I've been whacking off in it. Like, you know,
yeah,
it's kind of hilarious the difference between sex toys with men and women though, because women have been on the like vibration technology train for like decades. And now we're just like, this is like,
And we're at the pickle stage still.
We're 5 years into not
and
yanking our foreskin, right? Like,
because guys are so fucking stupid. It's taken us like 2,000 years to figure out that it's okay for a guy to use a sex toy, but guys have also taken to trapping their friends' dicks into these things, and it's like we've skipped the enjoyable part and gone right to the ransom, right? Like that's what guys. You give guys access to sex toys. This is what fucking happens.
I just respond to those emails with "go nuts," and then I let my mom know there might be a video showing up soon.
That happened to a friend of mine.
Don't open it.
Have I told you this story before? We'll end with this story. I won't tell you who it is, but he's
Dave?
people around here. No, it's not Dave. Craig Kegel. No. Where woman hits him up on Facebook. He's like, oh, she's really attractive. She starts sending him pictures of her boobs and other things, and then starts doing a couple shows for him on Facebook Live, but like the private version. And then she's like, come on, I did all this stuff for you. Why don't you do some stuff for me? So he's at work, right?
Listen to you sound like Walter Mondale.
And he's at work and he owns a fairly well-known retail spot. And he's going, I'm going to shut the door. So he shuts the door, pulls out his unit, and starts to pleasure himself. She's like, oh, yeah, this is great. And then all of a sudden you see her come back with a camera right in front of the actual camera. She's like, I videotaped the whole thing. Send me $10,000 USD right now, or I'm sending this to everybody in your Facebook group. Everybody that you're attached to on Facebook will see this. Your mom, your sister, your brother, everybody. And he's like, oh, fuck. Probably shouldn't have done that. Then he goes to the police station, sits and goes, guys, listen, here's what happened.
Keeps the closed sign on the door.
Back in 30
Dick's
seconds.
Sporting Goods. Still closed.
Back in 30 seconds. So he then tells the police. They phone this woman. They bring her up on Facebook on their super police computers, and they bring them. They're like, hey, we're York Regional Police, which is the police group around here. And did you do this? And she's like, go fuck yourself, and hit send on every single contact he had on Facebook. Everybody, wife, mother, kids, everybody.
I've heard this story actually. I
it was
swear
ruinous
to God,
for him. Ruinous. And I had lunch with him shortly thereafter, and he's telling me the story with a smile on his face. I'm like, so like how ruinous? He's like, my wife didn't talk to me for like 2 days.
That's it.
I'm like, that's not ruinous. He goes, yeah, our sex life's better than ever. Because when she asked me about it, she's like, listen, I got to do that because you don't give me enough. And I'm like,
wow, he's Italian.
Turn that into a real
amazing.
Positive. I didn't say that.
I'm just thinking of what I would do.
He saved 10
Didn't say
grand.
that.
I would do the same thing because I was like, yeah, wait a second. That makes total sense to me. That spoke to my DNA. You know what?
To my inner
$100 he's Italian.
Listen, Mom, there's a video showing up very soon.
It's
I know,
me
I was
cleaning.
so proud I got it. I had
Just
no idea.
so you know, it's saving me 10 grand.
Just delete it when you get it. Why? Well, because it's you cleaning your whistle. That's all
I've
it
seen
is.
that before. I've seen it so much.
I used to help you clean your binky too. All right. Well, that's it for us. That was
Awesome.
fun today, guys. Thanks.
That was a good one.
Yeah, appreciate it. LochlinCross 95.7 Cruise FM in Edmonton. How are the boys?
They're good.
Grant's good. Jimmy's good.
Can I tell you a quick story about Grant? It kind of ties into the conversation about charity earlier.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I love Grant Johnson. So whenever we're at, and in radio, you're always at golf tournaments and charity events, and there's always a 50-50. And whoever wins 95% of the time gives the money back to the charity. And Grant will stand up drunk always and boo.
God, I love him already. Jesus. I hate those
Every
things.
time somebody gives the money back, he stands up and goes, boo! Boo!
Yeah.
He's really
That's who I'm
charity-minded.
working with.
I want footage of that because I want to put that on my screensaver.
Go to 95.7 Cruise FM in Edmonton if you want to hear Edmonton's best morning show. It's LochlinCross in the locker room. Appreciate
Thank you.
doing this,
That means
buddy.
a lot.
At LochlinCross on Twitter, at James Difiore, Blackball Media. Go to blackballmedia.ca or at James Difiore on Twitter. Really appreciate you covering the Kegel boys for us today. Thanks, bud.
No problem. I'm sorry that I screamed into the microphone doing my old Jewish lady person. I'm not used to this awesome mic from Blue, but it's now something that I'm going to have to get used
Guys,
to.
we sound very good.
Yeah, we sound excellent. Pro, really. Pros. Thanks to our friends at Blue Microphones, the official microphone at DeanBlundell.com. As you can see, Lachlan and James and I all use them. We use the MoFi headphones as well, which you can get. Go to bluemics.com. Bluemic.com. There you go. There's the
They make
logo.
beer.
Thanks,
They make
fellas.
microphones. It's amazing.
Well,
No,
the
they
cool
don't.
part about Blue is that no, that's Labatt.
I'm just kidding. I know it's
Yeah. Premium
Does look a
USB and
little like the
XLR
logo,
mics.
though.
It does.
Doesn't it? It does
Premium
look like
USB and XLR mics, audiophile headphones for recording, podcasting, gaming, streaming. All right now, you need this gear from Blue. Go to bluemic.com for more information and learn how you can not suck when you're doing this stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Or suck just as much as us.
Mm-hmm.
Like that one. Ed's Fine Imports. Get his Gitch now. Promo code Gitch3. Premium underwear. You need in your life. I'm wearing them now. You can wear them too. I'm still sending you guys a pair. I've been sending them for months now. I'm going to get on that. as soon as we get off
36.
this call.
36 large pouch.
Let's be serious. Let's be
32
serious about that size.
extra large pouch.
It's not really the dick, it's the balls.
Oh,
Cock talk with Locke. I knew I'd get it in, James.
you need
I
hammer.
knew-
We should just send him hammer pants. You want some
Yeah.
hammer pants? Lon?
Yeah, it's like a big bell. You could stick you could get elephantitis or cellulitis of the nutsack and be perfectly comfortable in those
Yeah.
like Zubaz.
It's called
pants.
Hydrosil.
You know how
And I've had
Dean's doing all this research online for sex toys?
Yeah.
I've been researching the sack jack, which is the tuck, right? That's my internet search.
Never heard of it. I don't even know what the sack jack is.
Don't Google that.
I read an article recently that said that all the sale of women's sex toys have skyrocketed ever since men became feminists. Sorry, just kidding.
James.
You know those guys that say they're feminists because they want to get laid.
Yeah.
Well, turns
Oh,
out they
dude,
secretly
they're
like to get
everywhere.
paid.
They're everywhere. I watch it all the time. It's like white guys going, Black Lives Matter. I'm like, you probably don't really mean that. And
Yeah.
you know, you can see the people that are saying it too. It's fucking virtue signaling. It's the one thing I hate more. People who virtue signal are basically just mind rapists. Like I fucking hate all of them. Every
They
single
put-
one of them.
They put black and brown children behind them during their testimony. Like, I can't believe they did that. That's the
Still so
craziest thing I've
funny.
ever-
Look at that.
It's
Look at
so
that.
funny.
These kids are just laughing at him.
Like,
They're
what are
like,
you
I
doing?
loved how that
They're like,
lawyer
let the
couldn't
fat
get far enough
Kielburger
away
talk.
from them, too.
I
Yeah.
thought that bitch from All in the Family was just going to trot out onto the scene. Remember that girl? I can't remember her name, but yeah, she might be good.
Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Thanks to our friends at Ed's Fine Imports. Order his Gitch right now. Gitch3 is your promo code. You get 4 for the price of 3 when you do that. Also, Blue Microphones, domination.com. You want to dominate with content, dmntn.com. Normally, stuff that you produce takes like hours. This takes minutes. You get hundreds of pieces as well. Go to dmntn.com today and check it out. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Have a great day. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Join us at DeanBlundell.com by going there and having a look at all the shit that we do. And you can also sign up for the newsletter there too.